So then come on, just oh, you're there. Good afternoon. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the stream today.
Well,
You
thank
know,
you so much,
welcome.
Cheryl.
Yes, on this
Thank
rainy
you so much
day.
for inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome anytime. And I understand we're going to have a lot of rain in the next couple of days. So, and
Yes,
power outages because we had some last night. So let
that's
me get the
correct.
intro. Yes, let me get the intro going and then we can. Calling me. I don't know what that's for. I don't know who's calling. So this is live. Let me remove. And then I'll go back. Am I into the school now? Okay, good.
The rain just came down here. I'm not hearing you.
Okay. You know why it's just stopped there? Maybe because the phone was ringing in between. Because I'm using my mobile today. Laptop is giving
I'm not
trouble and the
hearing
fan
you.
is. You're not hearing me? I'm on. My mic is open. Still not hearing me? You're not hearing me still?
Very faint.
Mic is on. And it's on full thing. I don't know if the
Right.
um you hearing me better now?
No. Actually, let me get my headset so it might make it easier for us.
I was hearing you. I hear you very clearly.
Hold a second. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah, technical difficulties, all these strange things happen all the time. I don't know why. Jeez and ages. Malaysia is, yes. Add to the stream, add to the stream. Okay.
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly now.
You good now?
Yes, I am, because the
That's because
green came down.
I had to go out. I went out and came back in because of the phone call. The call, it disturbed the microphone, even though the microphone's on. It
Oh,
usually does that. Even if you're on Zoom, normally sometimes somebody call in between your live. What happens is that it, for some reason, it lowers the volume on the thing, whatever. But
yeah, it
anyway,
went very, very low. So I wasn't hearing you at all. I was
yes.
just in action.
But I have to remind that same person always calls me whenever I'm doing my lives that she needs to message me first before if I'm okay, if I can speak. She always does that. You
Yeah.
just start to call, you know what I mean? It's like it's my stepdaughter, it's Melissa. She always and she always say, "Oh, I forgot." Always does that. Anyway,
Yeah, you
that's
have
what I
to, like,
thought.
just to remember.
Yes. Have to remind. I have to get her a listen and tell her, listen, before you call me anytime, because you know I use my devices, please message and say, are you available? Because I'm not just available to talk just like that, right? But I guess
That's,
everybody be checking on me because my dog died last week, I was telling you earlier. The dog
yeah,
died and it was really it's a tough time for us. So I guess everybody's checking on me to find if I'm all right, you know. But I am all right, you know what I mean? I'll miss him a whole lot because Toby was like, the last time I was that attached to a dog is when we were children. We had a dog that we grew up with as a family. When he
yeah,
died, I remember that day nobody went to school. It was like crying all day in the house. It was a real sad. We had a dog, other dogs in between that we loved, of course, but there was something special about Toby. He just had according to my sister, she said he had a human face. He just was just different, you know. And
yeah.
it's gonna be different not having him. It's
I
gonna
could
really be
well
different not
imagine.
having him. Yeah. So it's gonna be
I could
sad. So
well,
Christmas morning, get up, you know, his special dog food, his special dog treats, and it's just a sad time. But anyway, the reason for this stream today, we coming upon the holiday season,
hmm,
and you know, I mean, apart from the fact that the world have been through a grinder, this is
yes,
our third Christmas, right? Yeah, our third Christmas of being kind of like, you know, almost people going out again, but kind of isolated and not in a great place, you know. There are lots of
hmm,
people who are alone at this time. People lost loved ones during the last 2 years, you know, suddenly. People who didn't expect to leave them, and things happen. So I want to chat with you today in your capacity in what you do, the work that you do. Um, you know, I want you to talk to us today, more you talking about what it is. What
yeah,
advice you would give to persons who will find themselves alone around this time? Because you know, normally around this time, it's normally a time when we are lonely. People feel
yeah,
lonely. You become sort of sentimental around this time for whatever the reason, no matter how much you try to feel, you know, that everything
yeah,
is okay. Something happens around this season when you begin to miss loved ones and begin to feel different. And it's not just about love relationships, it's about like family, parents, siblings, anything, you know, animals, you know. So
yeah,
I wanted to have this conversation early this season. But it's not even so early in season, it'll be in November, almost in the middle. But I want to have this conversation with you. So what advice would you give to persons? What do you think we should do? You know, people. I don't feel lonely. I'm all right because I mean I guess I've never really been
yeah,
alone. I mean, my younger son still is at home with me. Of course, I had Toby up until yesterday. You know, so I've never really been alone, and our family always did. Before Mom passed in 2019, we did family Christmases. So my sisters will come from abroad. We'll all and Mommy's house will be a buzz on Christmas Day. And when she passed, my big sister, she has a house in San Fernando. She would come to Trinidad. We had it at her house, you know.
yeah,
But this year is going to be different. She's gonna be up there. I'm going to be here. Nobody's coming this Christmas, you know. So it's going to be a different kind. It's going to be the first time in a long time. It's going to just really be my sons and I, because my big son will come over. And you know, and sometimes you can get a little bit nostalgic. Sometimes you can get a little bit sentimental around this time. And of course, Toby was a big part of our life. He's been with us for 10 years plus. And
yeah,
we just look forward to having him as part of the family. It's just a part of the family. You know, so I want you to talk a little bit, Michelle. And people. Oh, this is Michelle Nichola Cockburn. She'll tell you who she is. I'm Cheryl Dan. I'm a keynote speaker, author, trainer, and this is my channel. And I invited her on today to chat with me. She's a behavioral science major. So I wanted to speak to you all about who she is and her advice to all of us in this season of time when people want seek more love and more companionship and just a sentimental time. So Michelle, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself and just talk to us.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for inviting me today. And so, my condolences to you and the family because I can understand not having your pet around, Toby. I
Yeah.
too am a dog lover and having dogs around for so many, many years. They come part of the family. They're like humans because they understand us. We have a nice language, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, just remember the good times with him and enjoy those peaceful times that you had with him as well, as you go through this journey. It will take a little time, but I understand the crying parts and the breaking down. I've had that experience as well. But I know our channel today we are talking about loneliness. And let me start by introducing myself. I am Michelle Nichola Cockburn. I'm the Chief Empowerment Officer of Women to Women Services, where we help individuals explore on their journey to personal development, self-esteem, confidence. And we work with both men, women, and adult teens as well. So I'm happy to be here today to speak on loneliness because it takes many loneliness can go in many different angles. Um, there are people we get busy around Christmas time, especially around the holidays time when people are busy generally with work and balancing life and personal obligations, and it can be stressful. And then there are the loneliness part of it where there's a certain expectation, unrealistic expectations. Because from being alone, you tell yourself that everybody else is having fun and I'm not having fun. But the thing about it is understanding the place from where the loneliness is coming from. Because it's in an emotion, it's a feeling that you have to go through. It's a mindset shift as well. And of course, we've spoken at length on mindset shifts because ideally that's where we get the mindset shift allows us to grow. It allows us to get into a place where we are on our journey, as I said, your personal journey, and helps you to follow through on your goals and your dreams and aspirations. So it's really about acknowledging feelings. When someone is lonely, there are multitude of feelings that go through their system, and being able to identify and really get deep into what that feeling is, what it brought on to you. Is it from a loss of a family member? Is it from a loss in our situation having pets that we have had for years? Is it loss of friends? Are we introverts? That also plays a part. So it comes from various spheres, and we need to identify which part of the loneliness are we really feeling. So at the Christmas time, as we speak about people being lonely and it's Christmas time, how can we go through this holiday or any holiday and really find strategies and ways to be comfortable and deal with the loneliness? I mean, everybody's busy. We've come out of pandemic where we find that a lot of people are so now based on trying to make ends meet, the stresses of having that extra money or making up for the lost time of 2 years of not being able to do anything. And for those who are even home, how are they managing it? It's very, very stressful. And then now we are into the up season, which is the Christmas season. Everybody is up and about, and you have the malls, they're decorated, and people are thinking about their gifts, and you're in this zone of loneliness. And as I said, it is really about understanding the place you are and finding the correct strategies that would allow you, the coping strategies that will allow you to deal and to manage through this period. So there are a few strategies that you can use. You can avoid the holiday fever. For one, if you're, an introvert and you don't want to be apart, you can avoid going on social media as well, so that you don't have that overwhelming of joy that you don't want to experience at this point in time. Now you have to also be very careful because you don't want to go into a place of depression. You don't want to go into a place where you've isolated yourself so completely from everything that you become more than alone. You become sad, depressed. So you
Yeah.
have to find a way to balance it. And of course, finding practicing healthy coping strategies, like, for instance, exercising, or even readathons and watchathons, finding movies, planning ahead of time, because you know that you're going to feel sad for Christmas, or you're going to feel sad in whichever period it is. So planning ahead of time is also a coping strategy because it allows you to put a plan in place that you're able to be prepared in advance to cope with the holiday season coming. So I've already planned I'm going to visit Auntie June, or I'm going to plan the series of movies that I would like to watch. I've already, if you're going to download books, you're going to have on your computer to read, and those kind of things. You plan ahead so that when the time comes upon you, you're already in that mode of operation, and a strategy is in place, and you don't feel that, okay, now what am I going to do? Oh my Lord, I didn't plan. I don't know. You're not just sitting there now and more worried because of the fact that you didn't prepare. You know, for some people, they may even look at it. You can take up a big project that you may have had around the house. That all could have been in your plan. So you start to plan, okay, what do I need for this project? And then you start to go and you get the items that you need so that you know from the time the holiday comes around, you begin to take action. So it's a matter of not sitting still. It's a matter of understanding the feeling that comes across. How am I going to deal with it? Am I just going to sit home and mope and cry? Or am I going to get up, flip the script and say, listen, let me plan ahead, let me do volunteer work, right? Start with the big project, treat myself. So you may even be one to say, okay, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to get a lot of snacks. So I'm going to get myself a lovely evening outfit or something that is going to change my mood to follow through with my plan. You understand? So it's all about putting something in place that replaces that loneliness syndrome that comes about you, especially in the time. Now, we also take it into consideration the loneliness that would have come out of missing family because of the fact that around Christmas time you would have had Christmas dinner together, or Christmas Eve you would have been together and shared gifts together and all of that. And coming out of COVID, a lot of people would have lost family members. So it's understanding that feeling and going through the process of feeling it. You must feel it because that's the only way you're going to heal. You have to feel the fact that that is what you had then and they are no longer here. And
Right.
now you have to actually find a way of remembering the good times, remembering all the times you would have shared, and the dinners and the jokes and the movies. And cheers to it, because you would have enjoyed that period of togetherness with your friends and family. You don't want to look at the negative aspect of it. You switch to positive aspects of it, so that in itself makes you feel more comfortable, more calm, and able to accept the process that you are now going to go through, which is the lonely aspect of it, not having the family member around. So those are a few, and it's a lot actually, because it's really all about planning ahead. Because you know it's going to throw you off. You know you're going to feel how. You know you're going to cry. You know you're going to remember. But it's putting yourself in that position where you are able to be proactive and not sit and now be anxious in finding a solution for that loneliness.
So, Misha, as I heard all of that, and planning ahead is something that's good advice for life in general, planning and organizing your life. But
Yes.
There are people who I have met who just don't have it in them to do something like that. They sit
Yes,
in a pitiful state like forever, like
yes,
forever. They will bring up, I mean, and you're not trying to be insensitive towards them. They will bring up something that happened to them like 20, 30 years ago, and that will still be like a weighing heavy on them. You're talking to them about 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 planning ahead, like the advice you just gave, like maybe even mingling more with your neighbors. I mean,
correct.
getting to know your neighbors, because sometimes that could be your place to have like Christmas lunch and different things with your neighbors, because I'm sure nobody's living on an island by themselves. But there's some
Yeah,
people who, no matter what you tell them, their solution is just to be in that pitiful state of, I'm talking from a place of knowing individuals like that. So no matter what you tell them, it's like a woe is me kind of something. I mean,
yeah,
what can be done to help? Could anything be done to help a person like that? Because there are people who really have that kind of mindset. They will stay there and it'll be like almost like a helpless situation. Like they're almost helpless. So you're trying to help them, and you almost feel as though uh, the situation cannot be helped because they no matter what you tell them, let's do so. Okay, I'm inviting you over to have lunch with me. Nothing you do works except to hear that sad story and that story of pity and that on and on and on and on and on. What can be done about something like that?
well, you are correct, because there are people who take very, very long to come out of these situations, and it's unfortunate because the mindset where they believe that nothing works, it's a negative mindset where they feel that nothing is happening for them and all is lost, and they just go into this pity zone, as you said. But it's not really that. I think most of them have isolated themselves from so many people. They have isolated themselves from friends because of these problems. That if they don't have a tribe or anybody that can come around and try to probably take them out, or have somebody who is like a sounding board, because sometimes these individuals just want somebody to sit, have a cup of tea, and just hear them talk, and that in itself will bring out so much of this negative feeling inside of them. And you are just sitting there listening to them and probably adding your 2 cents along the way to cheer up the situation and just make them feel a little brighter. But for some, it takes longer. And if for those people, they probably would need additional support systems like getting counseling and stuff to be able to cope or find the tools to deal with that, or have personal friends, tribes who understand the place that they're at, and for want of a better word, in their face, always around them, trying to be there to support them and to do things for them and just spend quality time. Eventually, with that kind of support system, they will come out of it. But it's not a quick fix, because for those people, they just can't deal with it. They're not able to feel the feelings. And if you look at their operation generally, you will realize that everything around them, they deal with it particularly in the same way. So you would understand from that place that these individuals have not been able to acknowledge feelings and emotions. So that's a strategy um, tool that has to be implemented for them to be able now to deal with that. And that is not something they'll be able to deal with on their own. It is also for them to recognize that they need the support system to get them out of that place. And of course, there are the people that you just cannot help because they're not ready. They may not even want you to be there. They may not even want you to be in their home. They just want to be isolated. But there's nothing you can do about that, because you know that you would have tried, and the rejection and the pushback, and they're not taking your calls, they're not responding to your messages. There's nothing you can do about that. Just
I
wait.
was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about that because um, I'll have full disclosure. Sometimes I don't have patience with that. That's me.
Yes,
Because I feel like sometimes you're trying to talk to somebody, and I mean, you will listen to their pity story today, tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month. But how many times could you listen to that story?
Yes.
And they don't want to, that narrative continues over and over again, and they wouldn't stop it at all. Are you saying that we need
Yes.
to be patient, more patient with those persons? And the other question I want to ask is, do you think some of that comes from a place of unforgiveness?
Yes.
Like unforgiveness of things that happened in the past.
Correct.
And the third part, I've given you a three-part question. The third part of it is that I wonder why people don't understand. And I mean, I know it's hard. I'm not trying to be to be hard nosed, or I cry my heart out last night or all this morning for my dog, right? And that's my dog. But why can't we as human beings understand that that is a real part of this world? That people die, especially like the elderly. When they have passed on after a certain number of years. I mean, am I crazy to keep thinking that, wow, let the people rest? Is it, I hope you remember my three parts of my question. Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the last one in a sense that people deal with death differently, and there's a grieving process. So it may take one person actually 10 to 12 years to get out of the first two parts of grieving, which is really understanding where the person has passed and trying to move on from there in understanding that the good times you would have had and the bad times, of course, you're feeling out all the emotions and everything that would, because everything overwhelms you at the same time. So
Right.
dealing with death takes a little longer for some than others, and I believe it also comes with experience and maturity, because as we are experienced and also as we go into the human behavior and understand, we tend to have this way of of flipping the script quickly, of being able to positively identify the good things and move forward. Whereas for some, it may take longer. So, yes, it will be different for some people. For you and I, it may be quicker because we are analytical. We can understand and find the tools, the coping tools to work with it. But there are some people who will not be able to do that. And that is where we have to be patient. So, going back to your first question, where you're saying having the patience, it's understanding that everybody come out of situations at different times. They experience things differently and they take longer to analyze. So I may take 10 months to analyze the fact that the situation is weighing me down, what it's doing to me. I'm seeing all what it's doing to me, but I'm not willing to move forward and change the script and do different things. And then there are some people who will listen. This is making me feel very sad and it's making me not eat properly. I'm throwing off my diet. I need to change this and immediately snap out of it
Right.
and make a change, right? So it's all about your process in a way that you deal with things generally. And if you look at everybody, they have a different way of approaching problems. And and when you look at how they deal with certain things, then you are able to look and say to yourself, okay, I can see X taking very long to deal with a situation like that because I've seen how they would have dealt with situations in the past.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really a matter of patience, and it's really a matter of us wanting to help someone, us wanting to put ourselves in their position and understand that mentally they may not be okay, but how can I volunteer to help them? Even if I have to hear this story three, four times. Now, we may not be in a place, as you rightly said, because there are situations where you of yourself may have gotten up with something, some issue that is overpowering you for the day, and you're unable to come to terms with it at that point in time. And then I call you and I'm sharing my story, and you may not be able at that point in time to open yourself up to me to hear what I have to say. So you become impatient, and that's where you may lash out. But one of the things that I have learned is that once you encounter a situation like that, and you realize that you are not going to be of the best service to this person, it is only fair for you to say so. It's not that you're going to hurt their feelings. It is better for you to say, Michelle, I know you called to speak to me at this time, just an example, but um, maybe we can speak a little later as I'm processing something at this time and I want to give you my full attention. You
Right.
know,
Okay.
something like that, because
Yes.
you don't want them to feel that you are ignoring them, and you don't want to be unfair to them, that they're speaking to you and your mind is on the problem,
Yeah.
and you're not paying attention and you're missing certain things that they say, because in speaking to people sometimes you get to realize the depth of their mental you get to realize the place they're at,
Right.
right? And you may be the one to realize it and be the one to call out for help or to make sure that that person gets help,
Right.
right? So it's a matter of always being fair to the person. I think we have this feeling where we don't want to hurt people's feelings, but it's finding the clever way of speaking to someone so that it
Yes.
doesn't come across as though you're hurting their feelings. But you
Right.
want to give them your full attention, but you are not at
Right.
your full capacity to give that full attention at that point in time.
I got that.
Yeah? Yes.
Mhm.
So there are different coping strategies when you have to deal with it. But it's always
Mhm.
putting yourself in the person's place and being fair to them to let them know where you're at, because you want to be there for them all the time.
Right. 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 Wow. That's interesting. That's interesting because I have to grow some patience in that area. I must see because I try to I tend to kind of like if you help me to fix something, let's fix it. So
Yeah.
I have to grow some patience in that area. It's not that I
Yeah.
don't love people, I don't want to help. I'm always trying to help somebody. But if you
Yeah.
wallow too much, sometimes I don't know how to. I need to learn some. I need to learn some coping mechanism where that is concerned. The patience part of that because I'm not
Yeah.
good at it at all. I kind of like after a while, after a couple sessions with you, okay, get over it already. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's I know that's not really the ideal thing, right? So I'm just confessing to you that's how I am. I kind of
Yeah.
get because I think that life is meant to be lived. So many people I know of personally who have lost loved ones in the last year.
Yes.
One of my neighbors, well, this will be his second year of not having his wife.
Hmm.
And we had a community meeting on Sunday because they want to have a Christmas gathering. And he said, well, since his wife passed, he's not celebrating Christmas because she was the real Christmas person in the house. September, she asked him what they're doing. And then he started paint and decorate and whatever. She was into Christmas. But since she's not here anyway, he doesn't want to celebrate Christmas. So he came to the meeting as a matter of courtesy because it was put in the neighborhood chat that we wanted to have this meeting, whatever. So he came, but he came to let us know that he wouldn't be taking part in it because he had not been celebrating Christmas. And I understood what he was saying because I know for the last two Christmas he's left Trinidad. And he did say he's
Yeah.
leaving on the 20th. When a brother came back after Christmas. So people cope with things differently. So I guess that's how he's coping. Because they have one son. He's a grown man. He's a man, a big man in Cuscar. So I guess the son could eat on his own, and he still is at home with his dad. So I guess he'd be all right. But he has been good. But he's coping in his own way, right? Then I have my other neighbor right here, whose husband passed last December, just before Christmas of
Oh.
COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. And she was saying too as well, she'll try to be a part of it, but she hasn't, she still, I mean, and her, well, I mean, she only had, she's not in a year yet. December 8th will
Yes.
be a year. So, yeah. So it's going to be tough for her, to kind of
Yes.
deal with that. I mean, it was fresh last Christmas, and her family was here with her from the States, so they all were in the house with her at Christmas time. But then we talking about, this Christmas, it will be her, right? And her son. So
Yes.
I guess it'd be tough. It is difficult. I mean, and the reason Christine and I we spoke about our topic a couple of weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, was about loneliness as opposed to being lonely. Some people being alone as opposed to loneliness. But we're talking
Yes.
in a general sense. But I
Yes.
wanted to get your perspective on how, because I know that people are going to. I mean, there's another person I know. She worked with BWI back in the days. She's retired a long time, so She was with them just before they changed to Caribbean Airlines, changed the
Yes.
name. And she had no children, and her husband passed away. And she ended up with a strange relationship with her gardener. And I think he was taking advantage. Last time I saw her, she told me she was kind of thinking that he was taking advantage of her because he's a young guy and he was looking after her yard all the time. He knew her husband died. She's still an attractive looking older lady, but still, I think he started asking her for money to borrow money. And he
Okay.
started up with her lending him money. Then he started
Yes.
spending time and he started to go to the movies. And he started to invite. So she kind of like, she told me she fell in love,
Wow.
right? But then she realized that he was just playing with her emotions, because she really had nothing and nobody, no children, no grandchildren. Husband passed away, and I mean, at the time when I spoke to her, she was probably in her late 60s. So I don't know how, if she had any siblings, but she was very alone. So she would get dressed and then just be strolling. Last time I saw, she was strolling through the mall, just looking around the shops, not shopping and buying anything. She didn't need anything, you know. How is a person like that? How do you talk? Because I spoke to her a couple of times, and I wanted to kind of reach out to her because what advice would you give a person who is in that state of aloneness? Because she's alone,
It.
but she's very vivacious, right? So she's not I hope you're hearing me still because I've seen the video dipping. She's not alone, she's alone,
Yes.
but she's
I
not, you should hear me, right? But she's not one of those people who's kind of like a down and out kind of a person. What do you think, what kind of advice? I would like to visit her and chat with her. What do you think is something I could, like say to her, because I know my mom had joined TAP, right? So they are the Retired Persons Association. They do a lot of stuff, and they do look out for each other. To me, that's another option for people who are at a certain age, 50 and over, who will find themselves in this lonely space to be a part of this community. What do you think? Oh, Michelle is frozen. I don't think she's hearing me. So I continue to talk with yeah, the issue of being of loneliness at Christmas time is a really sad thing. I'll continue to talk until she comes back. Tell me when you're hearing me, Michelle. Wave to me when you can hear me, when you could hear, what I'm saying. We're having some really bad weather, and because of the weather, the internet feed is really giving some trouble. So she's frozen right now. Okay, so were you hearing me? I heard it for a second there again. Speak, let me hear. Talk, let me hear.
Hi, you
Move
hearing
your
me?
hand. Are you hearing? All right, right. I'm hearing
Yes,
you
I'm
again. Right,
hearing you.
yes.
Yes.
So,
So we're speaking about people who have lost someone, and what happens for some people is that they become very vulnerable. And people have a way of preying on the vulnerable. And I think that
yeah,
is what happened to your neighbor who ended up in the relationship with the gardener, because the gardener saw her situation and he took advantage of that by getting involved in her space and making
yeah,
her fall for him with the intentions of his own gain. Yes?
yeah,
But it's
yes,
also a matter of us as individuals realizing when we are vulnerable, because we all know when we are. You feel it. The feeling comes across, and you know the difference in the feeling when you're vulnerable. And you have to guard that. You have to be very careful when a lot of people are coming around you in your vulnerable space. Don't make haste decisions. Do not rush into things quickly. Take your time and process. Take your time and analyze, because that's where you will be able to bring the conscious side of you to understand whether this person is genuinely in your space. Is there anything that I'm missing before I open up? So to add to what you're saying about going to visit her, yes, she probably needs that. She probably needs to have a different perspective where you can take her out and see other things and other people. Go and join, like I'm also in TAP. So they have their Christmas function that's coming up just now. So go and enjoy that aspect of it and take your mind off of the depression and the feeling of loneliness and all of that. Interact with people, family and friends, volunteer. Get yourself into a volunteer program where you find that you're giving, there's a purpose for you doing that, you know. So yeah, visit her, take her out if she's willing to go, and share that time with her, and you'll be surprised to see how she will change a bit in the way that she looks at things and the people that she gravitates to at the end of the day.
She's willing to go out because she does she's a very she's a very vivacious woman, right? And she with our last conversation, she recognized that he was using her. She said
Yes,
every single time he came, he would come and you see he used his space. And I'm saying this for people who would listen to this will know what to look for. He knew her husband. He knew he was ill. He was there when he passed on, right? And she's there alone. No, she never had children, right? She's there
yes.
alone. And he started by having conversations with her because she's a very chatty person. She'll come and she'll start
That's
having
what they do.
conversations with you, right? Right. So he started to have conversations with her. She's traveled the world because she worked with the airline for years, right? So I guess he'd
Yeah.
have conversations with her about different things, right? And then of course
Hmm.
he asked her to borrow money and she lent him money. And he made her feel as though his mother was ill and she might help his mom. And then he kind of encroached on her in that way. That's how she felt for him. So he kind of filled a void. There's this person willing to speak to me, willing to spend time with me, willing to have a meal with me.
That's
And
right.
that's where he got into it. But time she spoke, she said to me, I recognized that he was using me. I recognized that he was playing with my emotions because I don't think he was genuinely caring. She said that to me. She said, but you know what? Like, I can't help it. I still need to see him
Yes.
because he's the only thing that I have right now.
And it's
You know,
good that she recognized that.
yes,
But at the
yes,
end of the day, she still feels an obligation to him because she feels, you see, in those positions, when you can help somebody, you feel empowered
yes,
because she's in a position that she can help him. She feels good about
yes,
herself,
yes,
that she's
yes,
given genuinely towards him. You understand? So that's why she will continue to say she still needs him around because she feels empowered when she shares. But she
yes, yes,
recognizes that he's using her. So
yeah,
eventually she will reach to a point where she becomes thick skinned and be able to separate herself. But it's good when she gets distractions because if
yeah,
she's able now to have you or somebody else to take her out of that zone, take her away from those situations, get her mind on something else, she'll be able to get tough skin now to tell him, no, I am not able to help you. I will not be able to give you this money at this point in time. But it will take some time for her to get out of that space and be confident in herself again to be able to move
and
forward.
me to develop my patient is a little stretching. Where that is concerned. So we talked about it, and I said to her, tap. I remember going to meetings with my mother to tap, and I need to become a little more active with tap, but just have not taken them on. But when
Mhm.
mommy was alive and well, I went to tap meetings on a Friday evening, and she went to the River Branch. And let me tell you, what a vibrant group of people they were. They were always doing something. Since Christmas, they're having their dinner, they're having their concert, these are fashion shows. I mean, they were always
Yeah.
doing something. So she looked forward to
Yes.
go in and mingling with her people, right? And I don't know. I told her that she should become a part of it. So I don't know if she did it, but I will stretch my patience a little bit because I really want to develop that part of me. So
Yes.
it's not that I don't understand, but that's the patience to deal with it.
Yes.
And go visit her.
The thing to remember is that we all deal with things at a different time frame in our life.
Yeah,
So while you may analyze and work out something quickly and be okay, we get with it. I don't tell you what to do, get with it and get it out of the way. Somebody might take a little while before
right,
they actually take that giant step because they're
right,
processing, and a fear of, if I do this, what is going to happen? So
yeah,
we really need to be patient, and it's one of the things that we have to work on, especially in these times of coming out of COVID, where a lot of
I,
people are emotionally dealing with things,
yeah,
emotionally disturbed and emotionally dealing with things. So it is something for us as humans to really understand everybody's dealing with things differently, even in the workplace. Somebody might come into work and be lashing out, and you want to know, well, what happened to this person? What happened? Go home now. But you don't know what is happening with that person having gone through COVID and
Personal,
leaving
yeah,
home and what personal issues. So we need to be always patient and maybe put ourselves in their place and try to
that
understand
is the thing.
where they're
That
coming from.
I think that there is what I need to start to do. Kind of put myself in the person's situation and
Yes,
see how what I would want from somebody. So
yes,
Michelle, as we wind up, leave us with a couple of pointers
yes.
in how
So
to cope. A couple of points, yes.
yes, in coping with loneliness, the first thing that you need to do is really acknowledge the feeling that is coming to you, what is coming and what is going. Once you're able to acknowledge that, you are able now to create a new way of dealing with things by using different strategies, finding positive ways, right? Remembering your positive aspects of your life and the strengths that you have that you are able to move forward with. So it's understanding the feeling and finding the solution. Then proactively now finding healthy coping strategies. So, okay, when these feelings come around, what am I going to do? Am I going to maybe buy myself a lunch, go to the mall, buy myself a lunch? Or am I going to look at reading some in inspirational books? Or am I going to watch some really nice, loving comedy movies that are going to change my mood or perceptive? Or am I going to reach out to my friends and family members, the jokey ones, the ones that will keep me on my toes and have me laughing and these kind of things? So it's really putting a plan in place so that you know how far you can go to flip the script out of
Right.
this lonely situation and treating yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Not because I'm lonely and I feel sad. Am I going to say, Gil, wake up now, get out of your mood now, and be critical with myself? No, don't do that to yourself. Understanding where you are and why that is happening is key to moving forward. And then also now volunteering. Find things to do. Volunteer for the church or volunteer for TAP or volunteer for any organization that you see yourself having a purpose and your gift and talents can share or you can help somebody else. Because everything in life, every experience we go through has a lesson that we can share or tell a story to somebody else. So it's for us now to be able to say to someone, I've been through that, and
Yeah.
this is how I coped with it. And getting that person to move forward and seeing the progress in that person. So these are the few tips, but the main thing for me is really understanding where your feeling is coming from
Yeah.
and really trying to create a new way of operation that kicks in automatically when these feelings arrive.
Michelle, I can't thank you enough for these words of
You're
wisdom
very
and advice.
welcome.
Thank you for hopping on here with me, and I know you have another meeting coming up. Thank you for hopping on and giving this advice to us. I've learned from some meetings you said too. I'm really going to work on my patience level where that's concerned.
Yes,
I
yes,
like to tell get get moving, not get over it already, but kind of get moving. Life is short. We don't know. Let's just I like to do that. So I'm definitely going to be working on that side of my life. And I want to thank you again for being here. Thank you.
very
Thank
welcome. Anytime.
you. Thank you.
Always a
Where can
pleasure
people,
to share
yes, where can
my
anybody
knowledge and
reach
tips.
you? Where can it be reached?
Well, my website is Michelle N. Coburn at .com. That's my website that people can go on, and also my
Again,
email
Michelle Michelle
Michelle
N
N Coburn
right, right,
.com.
right.
And you can also reach me on woman to woman services at gmail.com to set up any consultations. And I have a 30-minute free consultation session with all individuals who would like to meet with me. And then we would be able to work on a plan with them. But that's how they are able to reach me. They can also call me if they on my company number, which is 756-5694.
7565694. Good.
Yeah.
Great. All right, and I'll put those things in the description down below. That information for people who will visit the thing. All these subscribers who would come in and listen at some point. The replay people who will come in and listen. Those who will join us at some other point in time. This information is available for all of us. We're doing things here for all time, not just for today.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
all time, right? So this channel will have information you can access at any point in time. And you can reach out to us at any time and point. Nisha, thank you again so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And wish you a great day the rest of the evening.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.